Word. Gotcha.
We're
All
live.
right, man.
Okay.
We're live.
So it dropped yesterday. I thought it was interesting. I thought this was cute too, because the guys at vidIQ were like, "We're the only podcast that does breaking news." I'm like, we do this every week. What are you talking about, yo?
Anyway, they're trying to keep their market share.
This news took me completely by surprise. I'm working out in the gym, and AJ from Burlap and Light texted me this message, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's now on YouTube required that you have 8,000 view hours in 365 days to reach the monetization threshold. And if you're a shorts person, instead of 10 million every 90 days, it's 20 million. Now that is an absurd amount. We're going to talk about all of this, but first of all, I want sort of your initial reactions to this.
I mean, well, I'll start. I mean, I think it's good and bad. Obviously, it's like, you know, it's harder to get paid, but like at the same time, like it tells you like you got to be legit. You got to be like, this is a career. Like there's an aspect of like, yeah, you'll start making money when you're actually doing this, you know. And the thing is like, it's just the overall like great, the starting to get paid, right? But like the actual how much you're getting paid, to my knowledge, is the same, right?
Right.
So cool. Just it's not the amount your first paycheck is, but it's just when your first paycheck is. So I think like yes, it's good and so that's why I don't think it's like net negative. I do think it's a net positive because it just again like puts that barrier to entry just a little higher. It's like, okay, great. You still have to just keep working at it and be like, this is what I'm doing. And I mean, I loved your intro to this where it's like, is it going to cut out some AI slop? It's going to just make people work a little harder or just a little smarter to it.
Yeah. Golden?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's difficult because I think so many people grind on YouTube just to even like that's their. I think what's interesting, and I've seen a lot of other creators talk about it, I've felt the same way, is like that's your threshold, that's your goal for so long that you're like grinding towards, working towards, and it's nothing really changes after you hit that. Maybe you're like, okay, you're making some cents, some dollars. It's now a different game. But that threshold, I guess my fear in moving this is that it shifts the threshold to way more like broader niche channels. Because if you're a niched channel, 4,000 watch hours is tough. I mean, for us, I don't ever look at filmmaking and videography, content creation as a small niche. I think everybody is like adjacent to this in some way. But even in this niche, it's hard to really like capture that 4,000. I mean, 4,000 was a hurdle, right?
Yeah.
For most people. So I feel like, and what I have seen on the flip side of that is if you're a political pundit or if you want to just like put out very broad, you know, you're a video game player, no hate on those guys, but it's such a broad market that those guys don't struggle. It's the niche creators with unique perspectives that don't hit 50 to 80% of people on YouTube. I think that's where it hurts the most. And that's what I'm worried about on this is it makes the barrier a lot harder for people that are niche voices.
That and I know that the numbers are giant when we're talking YouTube world, but the fact that only 2 to 3% of YouTubers actually hit monetization at the current threshold tells you how difficult it actually is. That is not something we just plug and play. The problem has become that the AI video production farms now can hit those thresholds so easy, while a normal person who can do 2 or 3 videos a week, which is a pretty high volume for a regular person, can't compete with this farm that's just churning out stuff. And I think the problem will be that it will be even tougher unless YouTube takes greater action on those content producing farms. Because I just heard something yesterday in one of these podcasts, which I didn't even realize was a thing, that there's a number of people in this content farm space that they just build up a channel to monetization and then they sell it to somebody. I didn't even know that was a thing. So
yeah, I know that on Instagram, and you know, I've seen that on Instagram and TikTok. Well, mainly back in the OG days of Instagram, where people would build it up to 5, 10, 20,000 followers and then go, great, I have this handle with 20,000 followers. It's $5,000. And
yeah,
they would sell off an Instagram channels. Like they would, that's literally, and they're like, it's in this niche. And so then you would walk in with an Instagram channel with 20,000 followers that you paid $5,000 for, and you can start monetizing it and whatnot, but not off of AdSense, but off of brand deals.
Brand deals. Yeah, and that makes
this is
everything.
The thing that I'm, you know, I think this is the part that I know from creators, at least, like if, you know, like the rest of us, we've watched more than enough of how much money does my YouTube channel make me videos.
Yeah.
You know, and a consistent thing I see is that AdSense is never the highest. And if anything, it's, you know, it's such a small piece of the actual pie.
Yes.
You know, like it is it's like, oh, it's great. Yeah, that's 10%, 20%. I don't think it's ever more than 30% of the income of these actual, like, people who are actually making a living, you know, with a large YouTube following or social media following in general, that the AdSense is never, and it's something that I've always talked to, you know, friends about. It's like, it's never the actual, like, oh, this is what, like, how I pay my bills is through YouTube AdSense. So
100%.
You know, yes, it, you know, is it gonna make it harder, this, that? Like, sure, but in the scheme of things, it's not actually how people make money. Like, in the set, like, it's not 80% of the income, 70% of the income. And
yeah.
I think it's not talked about enough, in my opinion, on like the business side of being a content creator, being an influencer, because I know people with large accounts who are making no money, but I also know people with small accounts, you know, whether TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, who are making tremendous amounts of money. And what is the difference? One knows how to be a bit more of an entrepreneur than, you know, more just a content creator.
And that's, you know, speak for yourself, Jake. You know, I'm up to $40.20 this month, so I'm doing pretty good.
Hey, whoa. I just got an invoice from Meta. You want to know how much my most recent invoice from Meta was for being an influencer?
What'd you get?
25 cents, baby.
Nice.
I think the most I've gotten from Meta is like $3 and change. So, you know.
But so Meta was where YouTube is now. Like, they were paying, I remember, I mean, I made a decent amount monthly on Instagram because they were trying to lull those creators away from TikTok. And like, they were, their creator program was really, really strong. I mean, decently strong for what it was. And they dropped that down to like, I mean, look at what Meta requires now. So Jake, you're grandfathered in there. I looked at like our Creative Lens channel and like what you need follower wise and how many views there. It's insane. I mean, it's really crazy on how much you need. And I think you mentioned it. It just forces creators to build out their stack and their funnel faster, because you're not like, Daddy YouTube is not going to pay the bills for you, because I think they got too successful too. I mean, it's the model working, but it's showing that like more and more people are fighting for the same AdSense dollars. There aren't more ads, but there are more creators that have hit that. So now they're just, you know, how do you solve that model once you've reached critical velocity?
Yeah. In fact, I have that article. I'm going to share that with you because some of the numbers are quite staggering. I will say, while I'm bringing this up, one of the things, though, that makes it challenging or different, I think, is the fact that what was nice is once you got part of that YPP, once you were in the YouTube Partner Program, and once your brands are beginning to reach out to you, without you even doing it. So it begins that snowball, because cold calling for your first brand deal, you know, and saying, hey, I have a YouTube channel, and they're like, well, great, what have you done? That's a tough sell, very tough sell. But now that brands are saying, hey, we'd like you to review this product, and now I have samples, they're reaching out to me, and now I can begin to build up my media kit to actually do that. But you're right, the real money is made over there on the brand deal side and sponsorships and things like that. Never with YouTube. And partly you see why this is happening. This is insane to me. 200 billion daily shorts views.
Yeah.
I mean, that model alone is clearly AI driven, right? Like those are what are being churned out of those little 30-second gotcha things. I think that's the money. But the other was, what was it? It was something like 1 billion watch hours every day on TV. That's just not saying devices or anything else. They're saying 1 billion watch hours per day on TV. That is staggering. And so part of the original discussion that they were saying is that, well, it's easier for people to hit their 4,000 watch hours now in 2026 than it was in 2018 when they started this program. I would argue that it's not. With the amount of content that's out there and the amount of competition, especially coming from AI, it's either as hard or harder for a genuine real guy who's making, guy or girl, don't mean to be sexist, but to make video and get there.
I mean, yes and no, but it's very interesting having, you know, kind of whipped up our page, you know, the Creative Lens, just recently, and you know, we're newer to this channel, but you know, I see it growing really interesting the moment we start putting in some like intelligent work, and we're again in a smaller niche, smaller channel, like, you know, brand new channel type of thing, and you know, but like in our back end analytics, it's like we are growing faster, and we're not even doing everything you can be doing to it, and we're putting in, you know, well than less than 10 hours each a week. You know, like if Colton and I had been putting in 20 hours a week each, like it would be doubling every week. And I know that because I see when it was growing is when when I put in a little extra work, it went, and then, you know, Colton and I got busy and stats start to go down a little bit. But like, I mean, it's very interesting because, and it depends on the strategy you want to take. Like we're really, you know, with our strategy of doing a long form live and then taking the clips out of it, like we haven't even started venturing into creating vertical shorts and how much more that would grow with it. Because I know when I'm on YouTube, most of the time I'm watching shorts even. Like I'm not even personally watching long forms pretty much these days. You know?
Really? Oh, that's interesting. But I don't know if you guys saw this. I wanted to touch on this real quick since you were already on it, Jake. Brian was talking, the Brian Snyder was over here, and he said, you know, he's got most of his subscribers from shorts. And I mean, I'm interested too, because he's seeing the same thing that I am, which is like, it's almost two different models completely. Like I've seen enough.
And I wanted to touch on that. Yeah.
I don't subscribe to the concept that shorts will inherently kill your long form video channel.
No.
But Brian is pointing out what I've seen too is like the issue is if you grow too fast, if you want to be a long form channel and you grow too much or too fast with shorts, those people, like Jake just said, those people that want to watch shorts aren't going to stick around for your 8-minute video. Mm-hmm. So that means it's going to crash your retention. So it doesn't necessarily kill your channel, but when you post something out to YouTube, it's going to send that video out first to the people that subscribe to you. Mm-hmm. And if those people are used to watching your shorts, they're not going to want to stick around for an 8-minute review video. So I do think like that's that is interesting. And I feel like YouTube is almost intentionally, if not, if not intentionally, cutting that divide even more, especially with these hours. Like, pick a lane. You're either going to be a shorts person or you're going to be a long form person. So I was interested, Brian. I'm seeing the same stuff with mine. I don't necessarily see a huge crossover or feed over. The people that subscribe to me from shorts are harder retention. Like, they're harder people to earn the long form video from, which in turn, and that's where the AdSense is going to come. The AdSense is not going to come from, unless you are, like you said, Todd, that AI channel. And the interesting thing about the AI channels, I'll be interested to see if this works long term, because right now what I see, God, we were going to cover it on the channel. I don't even think any of us have talked about it. Jake, I know you and I have this like obnoxious channel, and now there's like 10 of them that are like faking miniature sets as special effects. And it's all AI. It's all sponsored. It's all sponsored by Higgsfield. And it's clearly AI, but they're like, no AI used here. This was all a model set. And like, it gets equal amounts. Oh, wow, that's a really cool video comments and AI hate comments, which it all is just engagement. So it gets funneled and pushed even more. I've had that pop up on my feed so much over the last 2 weeks, and it's just pushing the engagement thing. So yeah, those get a ton of views, but at what point does the AI hate engagement or AI love engagement, like whatever side you're on, what point does that drop off? And then it's just another piece of content. And do we see the same spikes in those AI channels in a year when it's not as, hot button and not a topic to talk about?
Yeah. For me, the shorts are not at all a part of my model, other than as an advertisement for the long form. It's to say, hey, watch the full show here. Here's a little taste, a little teaser of what we talked about. Go over here to watch it. It's because it's just I don't have the time in my life to try to produce stuff that's going to get 10 million watch hours in 90 days. That is insane to me. And I'm not nearly good looking enough to draw that many eyes. So I'm not going to count on that.
But it's not even that. It's like meme channels. It's like little stupid stuff. I mean, I can like speak to not at that level, but like I put out a stupid meme on my YouTube and that got 10,000 views. Like, that was by far the most viewed, shared, engaged short that I put. It wasn't the one that was feeding my long form. It was like a stupid meme. So what are you encouraging in this? Is the stupid memes, the quick shareable stuff, but then it all becomes that, and there's no grounded content anymore because you're pushing everybody into these like very engage heavy lanes.
Yes.
And I think it's also, there's an aspect like there's, and this is, definitely goes hand in hand with what you're just saying. It's like about this divide of shorts and long form, because I think then on the long form, it's also pushing like long form. Like, it's pushing more of these podcasts. It's pushing because, again, like they're competing, as we've covered on our channel, where it's like, YouTube is now the #1 streaming platform, like on television. And so it's pushing for things that are, I mean, and you look at the trend of podcasts and like video podcasts over the last couple of years, is that they've gone up from this average of like 20 to 30 minutes, maybe an hour, to now you have like freaking these Modern Wisdom, Diary of a CEO, Lex Friedman doing 3, 6, 9, 10 hour podcasts. A 10-hour like Lex Friedman has literal 10-hour podcasts.
That's insane.
And so of course they're going to, that's how you get watch hours, is that you just have a mountain of content, or you do live streams that you're going literally on live for 3 hours a day, every day. So of course it's easy because people are putting it on in the background. People are just going to, putting it on the television while they're cleaning the house, while they're doing this, or, XYZ. Like, So you can rack up your hours very easily that way.
Yes. And that was another, you're sort of touching on something I want to get to also, which I found was an interesting thing. So I used ChatGPT to dig into this and ask this question about AI and its effect on this. One of the things I thought interesting was it says that this part here, AI is extraordinarily good at producing content, but it's not good at producing a community. You can get 1,000 views real quick on this meme thing, like 5 crazy things about Rome, but you don't get an audience from that. And so I think the interesting thing that happens as a result of this is it's down here is that what happens is now there's actually a good potential for actual people who are doing the job to begin to get more traction, because now you stand out from that meme-centered society as someone who actually has something to say, who's actually got information or opinions that you're willing to share with the world. And I thought there is a silver lining, as you said, Jake, to kind of weeding out the chaff a little bit. It's just going to be harder. I feel bad for, as you were talking about, Colden, there's a lot of people who are on the grind right now and like, man, I'm going to hit that 4,000 watch hours. And then they're like, the goalpost just got kicked down a whole other field. And you're like, yeah, holy cow. Like that has got to be disheartening. I mean, I feel very fortunate that we slid in on under the deadline. But I feel bad for anybody who's just coming up.
Yeah. I will say AJ was on here. So he said, what's going on, and pointed out that this doesn't take effect until next February.
Right.
So at least that, and what I've seen too, we had another comment come in here that was, you know, I'm trying to do this, but I've got 12 subscribers right now, or 14 subscribers right here, Mr. Monkey. So I think that, I don't know, what I have seen is you grow with consistency and a schedule. And the same way, I mean, I've always, anytime I'm working with another company or a brand or anything else, and I'm in a consulting fashion, is like, consider your YouTube channel or your Instagram, or whatever your, you know, poison is, that's your TV channel. Yeah. And the same way you would tune into Friends because you know it's every night at 8 p.m. or you know it's every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Like, you get trained on that consistency the same way that you are building an engaged audience with that kind of consistency. So I think that there is silver lining or hope for anybody that's grinding right now. You still have, what, 5 months to be consistent, set your schedule, develop that audience. And, you know, I think all three of us have seen that jump. It's not steady, and it certainly dips, and boy, that's a gut punch. Yeah. But if you can stay consistent through that, then you will develop those people that will tune in to your schedule, whatever that is. And that will lead to the watch hours. And shoot, if you can, I would be doing a content push from now until February, if that's what you wanted to sneak into. But going back to what Jake was saying, like, that is the lowest part of your stack in terms of making money. And that's the weakest part of my stack and funnel, is like finding what makes me happy as the other monetization routes. And
that was what I was going to
highest for sure.
That's what I was just going to touch on was, you know, it was very interesting. We were, I went to this trade show for filmmakers called NAB and out in Vegas. And I talked to one of the brands out there about like, hey, just curious, what does your, you know, influencer, you know, brand ambassador program look like? Like, what do you guys need from me? Like, what's your kind of your base metrics? And it was very, the individual I was talking to, his initial response was so fascinating, because he's like, no one ever asked me that. So I appreciate you asking that. And they're so used to, which made me realize, like, they're so used to just like, hey man, can I get some free product? Hey, can I work with you? Can I, like, rather than like, what do you need? Yeah. And it gave Colden and I like our base metrics of like, they wanted a certain amount of, you know, likes and engagement. They wanted a certain, like, they didn't care about followers. They cared about how many views you were getting consistently and likes you were getting consistently. in the last 30 days on your shorts or on your longs. And it gave us our base metrics to go after. So what I would recommend is like less worrying about that, because that's going to be probably about 20, 30% of your income is the YouTube analytics or is the YouTube monetization. But like go pick the 10, 20 brands you want to go after and just say, hey, I'm on my hustle. I'm working up. I know I'm probably not there yet, but what do you guys look for to work with influencers, content creators, etc., to be a brand ambassador for you? I would love to one day do that. And if they don't respond, follow up saying, hey, just, want to push this to the top of your inbox. Reach out to 30 brands. You'll get consistent answers, find the average between them. And those are the targets you should go for, because that's where you'll start to actually make some money.
It's a very smart approach.
I want some thoughts on this though, because here's the pessimist view in my head to your optimist. So I'll give you the counter to that. I have seen the pool is getting larger and larger and larger, right? Like the pool of people that are willing to go create content for that free thing, for that company, is getting infinitely larger and replaced every day with new people that would do that. So but I think what's shrinking is the amount of money brands are willing to actually pay you to do those brand ambassadorships. That's what I'm, I guess, concerned with here, is that, we covered the story a couple of weeks ago on the channel where DJI, like that is scary, where AI still sucks, but is improving, is this UGC content. DJI apparently used AI in a UGC style ad that costs no money to DJI. They don't have to pay anybody. There's no royalties. There's nothing. There's no buyouts. So that's the only thing is like, and Jake, we've talked about this, whatever your daily rate is to a client to go shoot something, what amount of gear does Ulanzi have to send you in order to make up for just going out and shooting another client? Like, that's just where I'm.
Okay. So my point is, this is just a way to learn, and it's just to gather data. That's where my perspective is like, it gave us like, oh, cool. It's going to take us, I'm not going to mention the company, but XYZ company wanted 500 likes consistently across every video to get a free light.
Yeah.
And we were like,
$200 light.
Not even.
I got to go to work for you.
Yeah.
For a $200 light.
That's not worth it for me. And it gave us perspective. And so we learned, then the flip side to it. So to me, it was a research step. If you're up and coming content creator, look at it. And so it's a research step. The other side is make content that is so unique to you. You have to be like literally creating content that is and that's where the community, Todd, as you were mentioning, is so valuable, but that comes from creating a voice and creating a flow and a system that is so unique to you, having a stance, having, whatever. Like you look at David Dobrik, right? Versus Casey Neistat, two OG YouTubers. They have very unique styles and they've built partnerships over the years. And you go, I know I definitely like still to this day, David drops a new video, Casey drops a new video. I'm going to watch them because I've been following them for years and they're enjoyable. And you know what's going to happen. You keep coming back like a television show, like Friends, Big Bang Theory, or anything like that, because you want to watch the next episode of the television show. You like the characters, you like this. And it's on the same side as, I'm blanking on his name, but Gerald Undone, right? Mm-hmm. Same thing in a completely different, like not hype, vlog crazy, this cool, like, somebody who's a really good tech reviewer, Marcus Brownlee, like all of these guys, they have a very unique sense. They have a unique style they've developed, and they've built that community around that. And so that's the senior thing at the end of the day. That's what's matter is making your content better and better. And I use this, I'm going to give one last example, which is I have a friend who who has a very successful YouTube channel, but she's been stagnant for the last couple of years. And I realized she grew up because it was very unique in what she was doing. And then she didn't improve upon the quality. She didn't improve upon the entertainment side and the content itself. It's the same content she's been making for almost a decade now. There's no improvements to it. So you look at, and I think Marcus Brownlee is a great example of the improvement of those types of videos over the years. And as you do it more, you have to learn and innovate because, again, as we've been talking about, it's more competitive than ever.
Yeah.
So you have to get better. And so I'm off my soapbox.
And one of the things for me is what I appreciate you coming down. I'm going to get up on mine now, so I'll join you out there. One of the things for me too, and I believe that a lot of people that are watching in our community, Colton and Jake and I, are also in our business, right? And they kind of, this is what they do. And when I started this channel, part of it was to say, prove that I could build a YouTube channel that could get monetized and have that quantifier so that I can then go to my customers and say, I know how to do this. I can help you do this as well. Like that was part of my model, that I am not only just a video producer, but I can help you figure out how to navigate this YouTube thing. And the other thing, which to your point, also brand deals are a thing. The other thing is to be an entrepreneur yourself. Make the video sponsored by you. I have this item that I make. And as you build an audience, people might want to purchase those things from you, be a part of that, or just say, hey, I like that. So there's a couple of ways that you can then make that. Like I have a buddy I get frustrated sometimes. I love the guy. I met him. He was a server at a restaurant. And his brother-in-law owned the restaurant, was like, hey, you should talk to Todd. He's a video guy. And he would like to be a video guy. I was like, oh, cool. I'll have you grip. And he worked with me for years, kept working. I went to NASA. He kept grinding. And now he's like covering the Indianapolis 500 and getting gorgeous shots and using beautiful cameras and doing all this stuff. And now he's more of an Instagrammer. Hey, Cody, if you're watching. But one of the things he did is he made, so like I have this desk mat. He made one that looked like what your camera looks like as you look through the viewfinder and you have all the little information around it. And it was just a black desk mat with like 30 FPS. And I was like, what a clever thing, and he sells those on his channel. And, and he used to work for an influencer, which I think motivated him. She was in the fitness space. All she makes is those little bands, when you're exercising. She got to a point, she was her own company. She had 3 people in a warehouse stuffing boxes and shipping for her. You're like, that's what, to your point, Jake, how you make money doing this. You build this as your brand and work with that.
And you're just the marketer for the brand.
Correct.
But that takes it takes being an entrepreneur. And I think it's one of the things where it's like, if you can integrate it into your lifestyle of like what makes sense for you,
correct,
right? Like, what do you use every day that you're happy to talk about, happy to put on camera, that you're already doing? Great, do that.
Correct. Yeah. So I guess the only thing that I think, and I'll step back to the pessimist side, it's just a little heartbreaking because that monetization, to be able to tell people, yeah, my channel is monetized, means something. Now it's really going to mean something when you're hitting that $8,000 threshold. So I guess it's a good and bad,
I still think it's doable. I mean, I would still encourage anybody, when's the best time to start a YouTube channel is probably yesterday is always the right answer. Right. So I think it's 100% doable. Todd, we were kind of talking offline yesterday as I was looking through my analytics and where you and I both went and calculated out how many hours we would need, what our average would have to be per week or per month to be able to hit this 4,000. And you stop thinking about that as you approach your velocity speed, you kind of stop thinking about that and you start thinking about kind of the next 6 months, the next content target, the next brand sponsorship, whatever that is, and you stop thinking about it. I looked back and I was like, oh, I'm already at 8,000 or very close,
So I was going to say the same thing. Once I was getting that velocity, it went right past 4,000 to 2 to 3 times what I needed for that daily view. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm already would be 8,000. It's just, I wouldn't get it now until probably November.
Right. It pushes the timeline back a little bit, but it doesn't necessarily change the strategy. And I do think, what's the advantage here? There's shifting from 4,000 to 8,000. There's not a good advantage for creators. Like it's just harder, but it does give you time to build out the stack of the back end pipeline, the website that you can collect email to market to your community. I'm a big advocate for not being owned by any particular algorithm or big tech company, because I think you went through this, Todd, maybe. I haven't, but you can lose your YouTube channel. Like they can just turn it off. You could get hacked and you could lose it. And so like, if that is your monetization stream, you're in a little bit of trouble already, because you're relying on, you're not an entrepreneur, you're working for somebody, and that somebody is still Google. So I think that, the advantage is if it doesn't take you 8 months, it takes you closer to the 12, or if it doesn't take you 4 months, it takes you closer to 8, or whatever that timeline is that you calculate out. It gives you time to build out the back end, build out the website, start reaching out to brands or people that you want to work with. And I think that is, the piece of advice or the silver lining that I can see is that, it may push back this 20%, even though I definitely looked at that entry point as like, okay, now you've made it. Now you've done something.
Yeah, me too.
So it pushes that back, but it doesn't make the other 75% of your stack less important. In fact, it gives you more of a push or more of a realization that this 25% legitimately, like how there are enough YouTubers that will tell you it's only 25%, if that.
Yeah.
Now there's, 3 more of us sitting here adding to the same pitch, but it's very little compared to what you would make on the other 75% of your business that you could own. So there's my advice or silver lining to, okay, this part's harder, but get your butt in gear for the other part then, that once you have clicked into monetization, then you can throw that extra 20% residual check back in.
Yeah. The other thing that happens though too, I think once you're at that level, YouTube will be able to pay you faster. Not this, oh, I made $40 this month. Now I got to wait till I make another $60 and then a check happens. You'll be already at probably $100 a month or more if you're at 8,000 view hours and everything else. Like the metrics just expand. And to that point, someone made a very good point that it is expensive for someone like YouTube to do those little transactions every month. Mm-hmm. That is
that's something I learned. If you guys didn't know, you don't get paid until you hit $100 threshold each month. Yeah. So they're holding your money. If you're, still making dimes and cents, you're not going to see a paycheck until you hit that $100 threshold. So there is some benefit, assuming the CPM stays the same, assuming your like rate of pay stays the same, like what Jake was saying. But to be seen on that. We'll see if anything changes. The only other benefit I was seeing in that article that you pulled up first was they're expanding YouTube Premium Lite to more countries.
Yes.
So
that's an interesting thing.
So I don't know if we'll see a bump in pay, but you'll see there's more countries being offered this at least.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't know.
That is an interesting thing. And they were saying there's a potential somehow as a result of that there's more money to be shared with creators. In fact, it says it right there. They're actually going to say, I think 60% is allocated in the pool for content creators. So that's a change. That's an interesting thing where they're looking at like, we're going to hold a big chunk of money to give to these content creators in that space.
60% of premium light. Yo, Jake's back. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, that would be, and if you're expanding that to more countries, you know, I'm still under the mindset of you are allowing so many more people in that it still is gonna, you're not gonna see anything. They're literally trying to come up with ways to pay the creators they already have in the program. And obviously that is proof by the doubling of what you need to get into the program. They're still trying to pay for it.
Yeah.
So I have an interesting perspective also. Just I'm taking the flip side now, the YouTube side, right? Of like, okay, how does this benefit YouTube as a business, right? And taking the non-content creator view. And if I'm not mistaken, there's an aspect of like from a business, if you're the accounting of like all of those small brands, all of the small channels and the sending out payments, all the infrastructure that it would take to do that, to raise it up, can say if it saves them 1% on their top line, they're making more profits. They're making more, it's increasing their stocks. They're like, if they're able to make more money because they're saving those expenses. And so as we were talking, I was like, okay, how does this benefit YouTube?
Yeah.
Right. Why would they would, at the end of the day, they're going to do it to benefit the company. There was some executive, some senior executive from accounting that went, oh, if we just change this little benchmark, we're going to be able to double our profits, you know, whatever. Like it's going to make us another $1 billion or, you know, $500,000 or whatever. And that's where I think it's got to come from something like that, where the accounting efforts to pay out to this, that, on all of these, because it's a massive bucket between that. It'll increase their top line.
I mean, if it didn't benefit YouTube in a plethora of ways, they wouldn't do it. What I would be interested in, and they're obviously calculating, there are far more people at Google that are far smarter than me, at least, that are calculating that and trying to figure out where the barrier is. Because I will say the advantage to YouTube that Netflix doesn't have and HBO doesn't have, and like you said, you've compared, Jake, you were saying they're the #1 streaming platform compared to Netflix, Disney Plus, Apple, all of those other streaming platforms, options
for television streaming.
Right. And the one thing that YouTube doesn't have to do is any production costs, any series costs, and they're only splitting the revenue they're already getting.
Your
they're
channel
already being paid.
Yeah.
Right. So they don't have any upfront costs on their variety of content that they offer. And I think that's the advantage of YouTube, why we're all on it and spend time on the platform, is because, and I've said it to commenters, like, dude, if you don't like my video, then you just scroll away. Like, that's how easy it is. It doesn't cost you any money. You go on to the next one. And guess what? There's 10,000 more videos next to mine that you could watch if you didn't like this one. And so I would be interested. So as much as, you know, that 0.1% of the, you know, accounting that goes into these very middle line creators, the bucket that we fit into, that's what makes YouTube so variety rich. You know, why do you cancel a Netflix subscription or a Hulu subscription or an HBO? Because the content that you want to consume on that platform, you've already watched the 10 things that you want to watch on that platform. None of the other things that they've produced speak to you, and you go, I've seen it all. Cancel it and I'll go to the next one or whatever, right? Like, so that's the advantage of YouTube. So I would be interested to see Does this stay in a year? Is it like inflation where 8,000 watch hours actually just feels like that's normal in a year? Or do they walk that back a little bit because they see the same dip, or people are moving on, creators are moving on to the next thing that pays better? Because that's how
nobody pays better.
Innovate.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
YouTube,
right now.
But I don't think they're gonna walk back on it. This is my hot take. I don't think they're gonna walk back on it. I think it's because it still doesn't hurt creators. It's not like they're making less money. They just, first dollar is just a little further down the line.
It just disincentivizes the new people coming up. It doesn't hurt the people that are already there and making money. There's just a little bit of that.
I still think YouTube has such the ethos of being the #1 paid platform for creators. Like, if you are going to make AdSense, you're gonna have a YouTube channel. It's easier to grow a following on every other channel. To be honest, like, it really is. It's easier to grow a following on TikTok, on Instagram, even on Facebook. I think it's easier to grow a following.
Yeah.
But there is something about the ethos of YouTube. Like, everybody knows, if you want to grow a real community, you're either live streaming or you're on YouTube. And YouTube, you can do both. Like, you're either going to be an IRL or video game streamer on Kick or Twitch, but if you want to be like a video content creator and that's not streaming, you're going to be on YouTube. And there's a great example of, heard story by, heard the story via people, which was, there was a soccer match. I think it was the Sidemen, kind of charity soccer match. And they had all of these celebrities come out, like from different types of celebrities, and where they had A-listers, and they got a certain amount of applause. TikTok and like vertical social media influencers come out. They got a certain amount of applause. The YouTubers got more of applause. The biggest applause was live streamers. And again, it goes back to the people who are creating long form content, that you're living with them longer, gets this kind of, I forget what's the word for it, but this relationship where you feel like you know them and you live with them, which was the same relationship that, like, in the 90s we had with our television shows, with Friends. Steve Harvey talks about it. He's like, the difference between me and Denzel is that I'm with them, 4 hours a week, 5 hours a week or more every single week in their home. They have to go out to experience Denzel.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between that movie star versus the television star of the 80s and 90s, and compared to now, even like the TikToker versus the live streamer.
Yeah.
And so I forget what my point was on all of it.
Well, I
get so high up on my soapbox that I lose my vision.
You got loss of oxygen up there.
Yeah.
But your point is well taken. And their point was, if I'm following correct, YouTube is the pedigree. They're the one that everybody understands and sees as the one that pays. And it's a legit place you can build a business model off of.
I still think it will always have that ethos,
Yeah.
TikTok is trying to go longer form videos. Instagram is now like, you can stream Instagram on televisions. Everybody's trying to get to what YouTube is.
Yeah.
And there's going to have to take some massive innovation. The way TikTok took over, there's going to have to be some massive innovation for somebody to fight with that. Like, it's going to take a Disney Plus, a Paramount, and HBO to be like, hey, content creators, you can put your content on here now. To the point where Netflix is making deal with these content creators to put their podcasts on Netflix. But it's going to have to take a streaming platform of that, like HBO content creator edition, Disney Plus for the everyday man, it's going to take somebody like that to fight with YouTube, in my opinion, which I don't know if anybody's going to want to do that.
Well, if anybody can do it, who's probably best suited for that space would be Apple. They have the dollars, they have the infrastructure, and the delivery system, they could do it.
And the camera system, where it's all, you know, it's the shot on iPhone channel. You have to, everything that you produce has to be shot on an iPhone, but we give you this platform to distribute content that's shot on an iPhone. I mean, that's
there you go.
Freaking genius, as we say it. Like a photo carousel system that takes over what OG Instagram was, and a video system that's vertical, and then there's a horizontal platform, all within the three, but it's all shot on an iPhone platform.
Yeah,
for content creators.
And Jake's building out Apple's business model as we live.
I hate that that's a brilliant idea. I hate that that's a brilliant idea.
It brought me back to something though I was thinking about earlier, and that is this YouTube Premium and the people who subscribe to that. In my opinion, you guys tell me, this is primarily a television viewer, not a phone viewer. Someone who's subscribing to watch YouTube, which then I feel like realistically eliminates most of your vertical video, because I don't want to watch that on my 75-inch television that's, you know, horizontal. That's just dumb.
I actually don't think so, because I know I've used YouTube Premium, and you're basically buying back the rights not to have advertisements, and you get some other things as well, like you can download things. So if you're, I think that
the download features
works on either.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the download feature is great.
Yeah, and especially if you have offline streaming and stuff too, that kind of feeds into the download. So I would say, and I don't know, because I don't use it on a regular basis, but if you're somebody, you know, the same way Netflix offers you, if you're going on a flight, you can download 3 or 4 movies to watch on your flight.
Yeah.
If you're somebody who lives content on your on the YouTube ethos, then having YouTube Premium and letting you download, you know, Casey Neistat's video or whatever creator you want to watch, you can download those and watch them queued on a flight or something like that. I think that provides just as much value on the mobile, because if it was just TV, I don't think YouTube, as much as YouTube lives on TV, they're a multi-platform business, and I don't think it would be as, they wouldn't be launching this in so many countries if it was just a TV situation, you know.
Okay, fair enough.
Jay Fan, it's good to see you, man. Back on the stream. He says we need more creators, new creators, and I agree. Hopefully we're in the mix for new creators, but that's what we're talking about too, and that's, Jake, where my fear is just like, if you disincentivize that first step, do you get the people? But on the flip side of that, you get the people that will be consistent and will hustle and grind and will do it for the right reasons. And I do think that, you know, to what Jake was saying earlier, because I was a huge fan of Casey Neistat coming up from the beginning as well. And he was somebody who always struck me as, even before YouTube was a thing, he just made videos because he enjoyed the process of making the videos and telling the story and being weird. You know, if you guys haven't seen it, I'm sure Jake has, go watch his like documentary of bike lanes in New York, because that is the funniest documentary ever. And
do you know about his monetization story? Do you know Colden?
Maybe. Yeah. I don't think so.
He was getting, I think it was like 100 million views on his channel in a year. Like he had 100 million views before he even turned on monetization.
Yeah.
Like he was like, could have been making money like years prior. And it was just like, no, I don't care. Like, oh, okay. But like, again, he's an anomaly. Like he did it because he is a filmmaker. He wants to just make videos. That's what he wants to do. But even like, and that's partially, I think, why I love Casey and why I love David, where David was like, I don't care about, like, I'm going to put these songs in my videos that get me demonetized because I don't care. I want to make the best videos that people keep coming back to. And I think he makes zero money from YouTube, literally zero money actually from YouTube. But what he does do is make tremendous amounts of money on brand deals. And then, you know,
what he does do is make money.
Snapchat, he just makes a tremendous amount of money on Snapchat. And again, like, that's a sleeper channel. Like, in my opinion, that's one of the biggest sleeper channel. It's arguably the biggest sleeper channel in terms of monetization. It's Snapchat. Like, that's something that nobody talks about. But like, if you actually can break through the noise on Snapchat, make so much money from AdSense. It's the channel that nobody talks about, but I know people who, like, you can make stupid money, but it takes
See you
work.
guys later. I'm gonna go start up my Snapchat channel.
It takes work. It takes.
Yeah.
I ventured into the world a little bit, and I'm like, oh, but it's like live streaming in that respect. Like, it takes that hustle.
Yeah.
To do it.
Well, and I think that's sort of the bottom line, to sort of put a button on all of this, is that no matter what this is, if you want to do this, yes, that got kicked down the road a little bit, but as Jake said early on, it's a job. You actually have to treat it like a job and have a plan and stick to it, even when there's terrible months. I'm having a slow week right now. You know, it's like, oh, the views are down. Doesn't matter. Keep making content. And then that's just how you do work, because sometimes it stinks at work and you just have to keep doing it. You know, when you've got one of the most boring things you got to edit, both of you know that. You're sitting there like, oh God, I just got to get through this. That's called your job. And so welcome to the new YouTube.
And I think that's where, if I may just put one little button on that last point, is make videos that you're proud of.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, all content creation, and that's where it's like finding that unique style that's you. It's like, oh, and it might be hard to, like, oh, why can't I do this, that? And, like, sure, in the moment it might be a little tough, but, like, you should be like, oh, well, I just turned out another video. It's like, no, you should be like, dude, this video was dope. And then the next video, this video was dope. And if it's not dope, keep working it until it is. And that's, you know, like, just keep at it until you are so proud of those videos. And that's how you build a real following. That's how you build a community, to all the points that you were making and Colin were making this video.
Yeah. Any last thoughts?
Love it. You guys are smarter than I am.
Well, that's not true.
No, it's probably very true. But no, I have nothing else. I'm very, very seldomly lost for words, but you guys took all the good points. I like it. It's a very smart idea. I agree with both of you, which is hard to do sometimes, just in agreement, just in my own life, you know, but
sure.
I think that it'll be an interesting time on YouTube. I definitely think if you're close right now, I would be putting the hustle in until February. See what you can do. For sure. Yeah, for sure. Well, I guess thanks for watching, everybody. Yeah. Thanks for everybody that hung out. We kept Life is Alan company on his lunch break. So we're here for you, buddy. There you go, Alan. Good. Glad to have you here. Yep. All right, guys, until the next one. Jake, we'll see you on Thursday.